Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are live from the PDC in Dunedin, Florida, with the newest Toronto Blue Jay, Anthony Santander, alongside our EVP of Baseball Ops and General Manager, Ross Atkins. We'll have a Q&A in a little bit, as well as a jersey and hat presentation. But first, we're going to turn things over to Ross for some opening remarks.
All right, thank you, Simon. Thank you to everyone joining us here for this special day for the Toronto Blue Jays and Anthony Santander. Getting to a day like this involves countless hours on the part of so many. I'd like to start with a very special thank you to Anthony for your interest in making this happen. We had a jersey floating around our office with your name on it all off season. From day one, we expressed interest and we felt that reciprocated. Thank you to Danny Horowitz, Beverly Hills Sports Council, for the communication, the creativity, the late nights, and the hard work through the holidays to get this done. And of course, thank you to Edward Rogers, Tony Staffieri, for their continued support and aligned commitment to bring championships back to Toronto. Adding Anthony to this team and welcoming he and his family to this organization and city is a significant step towards that commitment. His offense, ability to put the ball in the seats, complement our lineup, was a goal from day one, and his preparation before, during, and after the game will impact our environment. We're really fired up to have you here today. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the organization. With that, let's get this jersey on. Smooth as silk. Looks good. At least that's ours.
Thank you, Ross. Looks great on me already. Wow. I really thank God, and I'm happy to this opportunity. And then I can't wait to be with my brothers since day one in spring training and work hard, get better every single day, and go after the championships. That's what we're looking for. That's what I'm here for.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Now, if anybody here has a question for either Ross or Anthony, please use the raised hand function now. Before asking your question, please state your name and outlet. And today we will begin with Keegan.
Hey, Anthony, my name is Keegan Matheson. I cover the team for MLB.com. Thank you and welcome. As you went from 10 years with Baltimore's organization into free agency, and you were speaking to new teams about new opportunities, what was that experience like for you, and how did it stack up to what you expected?
Yo no entendí ahí, dale, vamos a comenzar así.
¿Cómo tuvo la experiencia después de estar 10 años con Baltimore, organización? ¿Cómo fue básicamente el proceso de empezar a hablar en agencia libre con otros equipos? ¿Cómo fue todo ese proceso para ti?
That process was really good, smooth. Since day one, we have a really good communication, back and forwards. And then I know it took a little bit longer, but we get what we want, and then we're here. The process was really easy.
You know the Blue Jays well from your time in Baltimore, not just regular season, but spring training too. What about the Blue Jays attracted you? Why Toronto for you?
Why Toronto for me? I mean, they have pretty good team. You know, they want to win. They want to get back to the playoffs, which is more important for me to make that move. Winning mentality. The city is great. The environment at the field in Toronto and Rogers Center is amazing. And you know, just got here, bring what I learned in Baltimore the last 2 years being in the playoff. Share that with my new brothers right here and get better every single day and try to go to the playoffs for the next few years.
All right, thanks very much, Anthony.
We'll go to Ben next.
Hey, Anthony. Nice to meet you. Ben Nicholson-Smith here with Sportsnet in Toronto. And I'm wondering, timing-wise, Ross mentioned that there was interest early in the offseason. When did talks really get serious from your perspective?
Probably like November, something like that, late November. But like I say, it was from day one, like reciprocal, ¿cómo es que se dice? Reciprocal interest. And then the good thing was just you get the deal done. You know, this is a business, a lot of talking, it's a long process, but we get together and a deal.
Nice. And question for Ross. If I'm not mistaken, you and Anthony go back to your days in Cleveland. So just wondering if you could take us back to that time when you first got to know Anthony and what kind of development he's undergone since then.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate to have that history from the beginning of his career, from his days in Mahoning Valley and Lake County and A-ball experiences coming out of Venezuela. Immediately had an impact on his teammates and coaches. Mark Budzinski was his manager in Lynchburg, Virginia. But from the very start, we recognized another level of professionalism, an elite level of competitiveness, and an off the field, on the field commitment that was extremely strong.
Okay, next we're going to go to Shai.
Hi, Anthony. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you describe a little bit of your history with Ross and with Mark, and whether that helped in the process? How did it maybe impact how you were thinking about the Blue Jays, knowing there were some people from your past in the front office?
So with Ross, I got a pretty good stories because he believed in me when I was in Cleveland. He trusts me as a person, as a player. Those time when I was with a lot of injuries, he always tried to push me to try to develop me as a player, and that comfort he gave me. So, and thank you, Ross. And with Mark, he was my manager, a great guy, great person. Kind of the same thing. He always pushed me through all my injuries, gave me opportunity to play every single day, to do a good preparation, and always having a good communication to be able to stay at the field. And thank you, Mark, for you too. Now I'm gonna see you soon, but yeah.
And I want to go back to when you were Rule 5 to Baltimore, and you were a young player in A-ball at the time, and you're probably not a player typically who gets picked in the Rule 5 draft. How did that impact your career, your trajectory, and what went through your mind when Baltimore selected you?
The beginning, I didn't believe it, honestly, but they gave me the opportunity to be there, and I have the more important, which is hungry, good mentality to be able to get better every single day, and that mentality took me here, and I'm so proud of myself and happy.
Thanks, Anthony. And Ross, just picking up on the point that Anthony mentioned earlier, just about the pace of negotiations picking up in November. You mentioned that you guys had a jersey of his in the office all off season. How come it took as long as it did to get Anthony done?
I mean, like any negotiation, there's there's always back and forth, and also a lot of respect for what that process means for someone who is a free agent and wanting them to have a full understanding of the market. You're respecting that every step of the way. Danny and I have been having a good time talking about how much time we spent together. I've known Danny for 25 years, and I feel like we know each other a lot better now after this negotiation. We spent a lot of time together, and it was a very, very thorough process with a lot of man hours and an incredible commitment from Anthony to the process that we're very grateful to be here today at the end of it.
And Russ, I believe this is the first deal that you've done that includes some deferred money. What's some of the attraction, or what does having deferred money allow you guys to do as an organization in terms of pitching things to players, impact on payroll, things of that nature?
Yeah, it's just another tool to, help have some agility as you get higher and higher in payroll. So it just gives us another avenue to continue to build the best possible roster around Anthony and Bo and Vladdy and Kevin and Jose to ensure that we have some flexibility moving forward.
Thanks, Russ.
We're going to go to Griff next.
Hey, Anthony. Rich Griffin with Exit Philosophy. How much did comfort play a factor in you signing? We talked about Mark and Ross and Bud, but you're still spring training in Florida. You're playing in four AL East ballparks that you're familiar with. You've hit 106 home runs in those 4 parks. And you were teammates with Andres Jimenez for Team Venezuela, teammates at the All-Star game with Vlad. Who did you speak to in terms of trying to find out information above and beyond what you already know about those cities and the Blue Jays?
Alguien específico que tú hablaste que te ayudó en este proceso. Obviamente ya sabemos que ha estado en Florida, sprint training, en la división ya conoces toda la división, los otros equipos que participan en ella. Andrés Jiménez obviamente fue cambiado de acá, participaste con él en el equipo de Venezuela, participaste con Vladimir en el Juego de Estrellas también. Esas varias cosas que tú entiendes que quizás influyeron también en parte de la decisión en ser un Toronto Blue Jay.
Yeah, I have good relationship with Victor Martinez. So we're friends from a long time ago. Of course, he's been in the organization. Talking to him a lot, tried to get me here and all that. I think he was really helpful. Vladdy too, Manoja, we work in the same facility. We always joking around, come to Toronto, we need you, and all that. From day one, I always was here in Toronto, and then thank God I signed here.
Is your preference, Anthony, to play DH, right field, left field? Does the artificial turf at the stadium, is that a factor?
Oh no, I'm not gonna play where the skipper gonna need me. Wherever he need me, left field, right field, first base, DH, I'm really flexible with that. All that I want is get ready to win games.
Thanks, Anthony. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Isbelia.
Hola Anthony, ¿cómo estás? Un gusto saludarte, Isabela Fernández para Hispanic Sports Media y felicidades por este nuevo destino.
Gracias.
Pero tengo justamente 2 preguntas para ti y sobre 2 duplas que se van a dar gracias a tu incorporación con el equipo. La primera, esa dupla con Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Me encantaría saber tus expectativas sobre encontrarte en un mismo terreno con Vladdy. El año pasado conectaste 44 cuadrangulares, Vladdy 30. Me gustaría saber de igual manera tu perspectiva sobre qué tan importante es para el equipo tener a 2 jugadores de tanta producción ofensiva en cuanto a jonrones se refiere. Y la otra dupla con Andrés Jiménez, que se reencuentran después de ese Clásico Mundial de Béisbol representando a Venezuela. ¿Qué tan especial es para ti tener un compañero venezolano? Gracias y éxitos.
So basically, couple questions here. First one, expectations from Anthony to playing with Vladdy, and expectation also from Anthony to play with Andrés Jiménez.
Mira, las expectativas son bastante grandes, de verdad. Creo que vamos a hacer una buena combinación, Vladdy y yo. Obviamente no sabemos dónde vamos a batear, pero sí, el simple hecho de estar en la misma alineación, pues creo que le da una fortaleza a la alineación. Y creo que vamos a aprender mucho. Vamos a aprender mucho del uno al otro, vamos a trabajar con todo para hacer el equipo mejor cada día y ganar juegos, que es lo más importante. Y con respecto a Andrés, que es un gran jugador, que sabemos su defensa plus que tiene. No te di para que tradujeras, pero bueno, mala mía. Empieza con Brady, dale.
So on Blatty, I mean, I'm looking forward to play with Blatty. Don't know where the skip is going to put us on the line, if I'm going to hit in front or behind him. But I'm sure it's going to be a powerful duo. I know we're going to do a lot of damage, so I'm very, very excited to be in the lineup with Blatty.
Y con Andrés Jiménez, pues sabe que él trae mucho en la parte de la defensa, nos va a dar mucho valor en la parte defensiva y él es un gran bateador también. Creo que va a ser una combinación muy buena. Lo mejor que tenemos, que somos peloteros que nos gusta trabajar día a día y nos gusta mejorar día a día.
I mean, with Jimenez, obviously everybody knows about his defense. He brings to the table. It's very valuable for the team, for the organization to have him. And then, I mean, being with him here in Toronto, it will be a great addition, I believe, for the organization. And we're gonna do a lot of good things here.
Ya hubo una conversación con ellos. ¿Cuáles fueron esas primeras reacciones de ambos?
Bueno, tuve la dicha de que Vladi me llamara de una vez cuando ya era oficial. Estaba muy emocionado, muy contento de que iba a estar en la organización y nada, quedamos en reunirnos para hablar de lo que viene, de mejorar día a día y hacer bastante daño.
Yeah, on that question, if Anthony already spoke with both with Blatty and then Jimenez, he did talk to Blatty. Blatty was very emotional. I mean, very excited on having Anthony on the team, and but haven't talked to Jimenez yet, but I'm looking forward for that.
Okay, next up we'll go to Andy.
Hey Tony, it's Andy Kuska from the Baltimore Banner. Hope you're doing well. I'm curious when you realized this offseason that your time in Baltimore was finished. What was that kind of like? How difficult was that? And maybe when you look back on that time, I mean, what memories stand out as to maybe what were your favorite memories you had there?
I mean, of course, a lot of emotions, and I'm so thankful for Baltimore because it was the organization who gave me the opportunity to show up as a player. I mean, just hitting my first base hit, my first play, my first homers, going to the playoffs is something that is gonna be in my head. But now we are at Toronto Blue Jays. It's time to go and face them and beat some games.
Thanks, Tony.
And we'll go to Mike Wilder next.
Hi, Anthony, and welcome to Toronto. Mike Wilder from the Toronto Star. You mentioned a few minutes ago that you're willing to play anywhere, but were there any discussions when you were talking about this contract about where the Blue Jays, how they might use you?
No, it wasn't. That's a conversation is come with Skip when I have the chance to talk to him about it. But I'm open to play anywhere because I just want to win, and then if I give the flexibility to the team to move around so we can put a better lineup.
And, you've been in the AL East, like everyone has said, for a long time. You've seen the Blue Jays be good and then not so good and then good again and now not so good again going into this year. What do you expect? You talked about the playoffs. What about this team excites you, besides, of course, Vladdy, for the shot at getting back into the playoffs?
Yeah, of course, that's baseball. There's a lot of up and down. But I saw the Blue Jays. I saw there's big names in here. We got Bud, we got Vladdy, Springer, Berrios, Guzman. It's a big name that they have a lot of talents, a lot of experience. I think we just stay together, go play hard every single day as a teammate like what we are, brothers. I think we're going to be good because the talent is there.
All right, thank you.
Up next is Greg.
Hey, Anthony. Greg Strong from the Canadian Press. Just curious, what gives you confidence that the Blue Jays will be in a position to contend not only this season, but also 3, 4, 5 years down the road?
Like I told you, you see the names in the lineup and the roster. I mean, it's a guy with a lot of experiences and a lot of talents, you know. I know you guys didn't make it to the playoffs last year, but 2022, 2023, the Blue Jays was in the playoffs. So it's a lot of playoffs contender right there. And playing against the Blue Jays, you can see, right? And of course, this is a game we're not going to win every game. We just have to have the right mentality to stay together and win game. Like I always say, in baseball, never the best team win, because in baseball, everything can happen. So I really believe that we have a really good team and we can put a lot of things together and do a lot of damage in this division.
A quick question for Ross, if I could. Just curious, when it comes to free agency, how would you describe the hits and misses you've had this offseason as GM?
Thinking about the big hit we have today is where my focus is, and we're always focused on trying to make this team better. The additions of Andres Jimenez and Yemi Garcia and Jeff Hoffman and Nick Sandlin are also exciting. We'll continue to think about ways to make our team better and feel like we've had some pretty big hits.
Thank you.
Up next is Rob.
Rob Longley from the Toronto Sun. First question for Ross. Ross, what Anthony touched on it a little bit, but how dynamic can an offense be with Anthony in it as well as Vladdy, and how much does that sort of change what you guys can do at the plate?
Yeah, Anthony's about as good of a fit as we can find. So doing it from both sides of the plate, putting the ball in the seats at a very regular amount, his ability to do damage on a nightly basis is exactly what we were looking for, and a great addition to this lineup.
Understanding that you can't talk in specifics necessarily, but how important is it to continue the dialogue with Vladdy on an extension before spring training arrives?
Yeah, today's about Anthony, and glad to talk to you about that on another day.
Okay, a question for you, Anthony, as well. Obviously, your familiarity with the parks in the American League East is a plus. What do you like about hitting at the Rogers Center?
It's a good batting eyes, and then you can see the ball really good, and especially with that renewed stuff that they did in the back of the side. It's good. The environment is great. The fans. So every time we play in a good environment, it's push you to always give 1,000%.
Was it a park you always enjoyed coming to with the Orioles? Was it a park you always enjoyed coming to when you were with the Orioles?
¿Un parqueo?
No, un parque de pelota.
¿Un parque?
Sí.
Oh, Toronto was my favorite park.
Thank you.
We'll go to Mariano next.
Hola Anthony, mucho gusto, bienvenido a Toronto. Mariano Sánchez para el Diario AS. Anthony, vienes de una temporada muy buena con 44 cuadrangulares y 102 impulsadas. ¿Qué ajustes fueron clave la temporada pasada para lograr esos números? ¿Y cómo te estás preparando para mantener esos números ahora con Toronto?
Just basically, what kind of adjustments Anthony made last year in order for him to put the numbers he put last year, and also how he's preparing himself this offseason to continue the numbers and to put the numbers that he put last year now with the Blue Jays.
Mira, creo que lo más importante es mantenerse saludable, gracias a Dios, para poder estar disponible para jugar 150, 160 juegos. Y nada, con los ajustes, esto es un juego de ajustes, un ajuste que se hace todos los días. Así te vayas de 4-4, siempre hay algo que trabajar en la parte de la ofensiva. Y lo más importante es estar temprano en la recta, reconocer buenos picheos, no hacer tanto chase, y tendremos que seguir trabajando en eso para ser un mejor bateador cada día.
I mean, you got to stay. First thing, you got to stay. You got to stay healthy. You got to find a way to stay healthy in order for you to play 150, 160 game. And then, I mean, adjustments. I mean, it's just something that you have to keep working on that every day, every at bat. I mean, every pitch. You got to be, I mean, mentally and physically ready. So that's the type of preparation that I'm doing all this off season. I'm looking forward to continue that for next year.
And we'll go to Fernando next.
Hola Anthony, bienvenido a Toronto. Quería primero pues, felicitarte por ese contrato de 5 años, igualmente a la gerencia. Mi pregunta para ti sería que teniendo ya 5 años de contrato en el equipo, ¿cómo eso va a afectar positivamente lo que quieres aportar, no tanto este año, sino también los siguientes? Y si ya has hablado con el coach de bateo de un posible trabajo para hacerte mejor fit para el estadio acá en Toronto.
I mean, basically, obviously, after signing the 5-year deal, I mean, how are you gonna pretty much approach that on through the 5 years, not just this year? And if you have talked to our new Popkin, our new hitting coach, and if you have a plan whenever it's a time to talk, if you did talk to him or if you're going to, what's the plan on you for this year and the rest of the years?
No he hablado con él todavía. Estos últimos días ha sido bastante full. En su oportunidad me sentaré con él para discutir todo ese tipo de cosas que tenemos que trabajar. Y con respecto a los otros, pues, mira, seguir trabajando, seguir preparándome, seguir mejorando en mi trabajo día a día, teniendo la misma disciplina, la misma constancia, misma ética de trabajo para poder mantenerme saludable y seguir mejorando como pelotero, que esa es la clave al final del día.
I mean, in terms of the hitting coach, I haven't talked with Popkins yet. It's been, I mean, the last couple of days are being, I mean, been full schedule for me. So, but when at some point I will be calling him or sitting down with him, talking to him about our plan for this year and for the next years also.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
And we'll go back to Shy.
Hey Ross, just with Santander under contract now, I'm just wondering how does that impact both in terms of from a financial perspective, positional perspective, what else you're trying to accomplish in the market?
Yeah, I mean we feel like we've got a lot of work done this offseason, the additions I just mentioned previously, and we of course will continue to try to add to this team if there's a way to do it, and we'll present those opportunities to Edward and Tony as we have a pretty good understanding of what is there, what is available to us, and as they become more real, that we'll present those and hopefully have avenues to improve our team.
What impact, if any, does taking on Miles Straw's contract have on your future pursuits?
Zero impact, and only positive impact.
Okay. And Anthony, just one more question for you. Ross mentioned before that deferred money is a good tool for a team kind of managing things. For you, what's attractive about having deferred money in your contract?
Like Ross said, is give the opportunity to build a good team around, because pretty much that's it, I think. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a contract, right?
Sure. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Shai.
And we'll go back to Ben.
Ross, with Anthony now on the roster in the fold for you guys, if you were to add to your position player group, where would you look to add?
We're in a really good position with the acquisitions we made at the deadline last year. I could rattle off 6 or 7 names that will be in the mix for maybe competing with another free agent, maybe competing with another acquisition via trade, but there's a good group that will be competing for at-bats to start the regular season. some of which had some success with us last year that will be squarely in the mix. But our major league 40-man roster, our 26-man roster, we feel like are in a really strong position. Our AAA team is going to be at every position have a prospect and rising major league player at it, which is rare to have. Excited about some of the additions that we've made to our rotation and in AAA and the depth that we have there as well. But we'll continue to look to make our organization better and feel like we don't have to in one specific area.
Right. And then on the pitching side, you mentioned the rotation there. Is there room in your mind to potentially add a major league starting pitcher, even though you have, 5 guys on paper? Is there room in your mind to add someone else and make things deeper?
Yeah, and it's just a matter of opportunity cost. So as you weigh that, whether via trade or free agency, how does that impact the rest of your roster, and what did you not acquire by making that move? So, but absolutely room to do so. And all of our pitchers understand how competitive the environment is. We've been in one every spring training for the past 5 years and plan on remaining one for the years to come, where you're coming in and there are guys like Anthony that know exactly what the season is going to, well, not exactly, but have a really good understanding of what their playing time will be. But others understand that they have to be flexible and compete.
Makes sense.
And we'll go to Matt next.
Matt Betts, Canadian Baseball Network. Thank you both for doing this. Question for Ross. When it comes to the contract, deferrals, opt-outs, those sort of things, at what point did those things get brought up during the process? And is that something, a strategy you plan on using going forward as the offseason continues?
Every situation's different. I can't remember the specific date to when we brought up certain aspects, but we had really good communication, a lot of open-mindedness both ways. I certainly feel hope you felt that way, Danny, but I certainly did. That it was a lot of work. There was a lot of time spent on making sure we got it right for Anthony, and that it made sense for both of us.
Okay, and we'll go to Hazel next.
Hi, Anthony. Hazel May with Sportsnet. Congratulations on your deal.
Thank you.
You mentioned Victor Martinez earlier. Was there something in your conversation with him that really stood out, whether it be something he said about the team, the city, the organization, the ballpark, anything that really stood out to you?
¿Qué stood out?
Algo, ahorita mencionaste en la conversación con Víctor Martínez, ¿hubo algo que en realidad te llamó la atención?
Llamó la atención. Esa fue la palabrita que no entendí. Gracias. I think we talk a lot during the season. Of course, every time he go to Toronto to see the guys. At one point I was there, and then we got together, we got a lot of talking. He was gave me the idea how the organization is, how they take care of the players, and then how good the facility are to be able to prepare yourself for a game, all that stuff. Of course, it was a lot of conversation who put me in an easy position to make a decision to be in a Blue Jay.
And in your conversations with Vladdy and other people in the organization, what sort of questions did you want answered? What did you want to know?
I think the most thing is how the team is when we talk about being together for the 8 months, because it's like a family. We spend a lot of time together, and pretty much like how is the clubhouse look in the inside.
And sorry, what were you told about the clubhouse on the inside? Were you satisfied with what you heard?
Oh, they're good. They are good teammates. They take care of each other, and then that's what we need.
Thank you. And Ross, quickly for you, just jumping off what Ben had said, if you were to go into spring training with the current group you have now, without making any further moves, How satisfied would you be about your off-season?
Yeah, feel we're in a really strong position, but we'll continue to work to see if there are ways to improve our roster.
Is there anything impending right now? Anything you're close to as far as any moves?
The way I always view it is you're never close until you're done, because something could always change or set you back. But we're working around the clock and won't stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll go back to Mike.
Thanks, Simon. Ross, Anthony has told us that he'll play all over the field. Is there a spot that you have in mind, or at least a breakdown of how often you'd like to see him where?
No, I think the ability to play left and right and first, and the openness to DH is where we need to be, and then Schneids and Anthony will work through that together as spring training and the season unfold.
And for Anthony, just looking at your numbers hitting in Rogers Center, you've hit all your home runs there in the last 2 years, and 90% of your extra base hits there in the last 2 years. You talked about how the hitting background changed a couple of years ago. Is that the difference, or is it just how much you've changed as a hitter over the last little while?
Probably both, but like I mentioned earlier, the part eyes look better for me. Of course, everybody is different, and the last 2 years I'm able to see the ball great in there. And then, yeah, it's a combination, right?
Okay, thanks.
And we'll go back to Isbelia.
Thanks. Anthony, por tu grandiosa temporada 2024, definitivamente tuviste reconocimientos muy importantes en Venezuela. El premio Luis Aparicio, ser el atleta del año en nuestro país. Ahora te ves repitiendo estos reconocimientos de la mano de los Blue Jays. ¿Y qué tan importante, qué tan especiales fueron para ti estos dos premios que ganaste en Venezuela?
Basically, after the great season that Anthony had last year, back in Venezuela, he was awarded with the Luis Aparicio award, and also he gets award again on signing here with the Blue Jays. Talk to us about that.
Te faltó una. No, mira, de verdad que muy contento y agradecido con Dios por todos esos premios, toda la gloria para Él, porque sin Él no somos nada. Creo que ha sido una bendición gracias a todo el trabajo que he puesto los últimos años, y muy contento de haber recibido estos reconocimientos.
First of all, thanks to God. Without Him, I couldn't be able to do this, and of course, all those blessings for all the hard work that I've been putting all these years. Without that, I couldn't be here right now.
¿Cómo fue la reacción de la familia ahora que se enteraron que Toronto va a ser su nueva casa?
What was the reaction of the family now that they find out that there are Blue Jays?
Contenta, llena de alegría, de emoción. Ya mi papá como que sabía que yo iba a firmar aquí, porque lo dijo público en el Luis Aparicio. Le preguntaron, ¿para dónde quieres ir? Dijo Toronto de una vez. Está más contento.
Very happy, very emotional. My mom, my dad, especially my dad, he kind of knew it already, and he's super happy on that.
Gracias, Anthony. Éxitos.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Ross. And we will see everybody at spring training in a few weeks.
Great job.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was a great job.
Ahí, más o menos.